In the highlands of Obodo, where the winds hummed lullabies through tall grasses, there lived a widow named Mama Udu. She was not rich in coin, but her kindness made her wealthy in the ways that truly mattered. She had one goat, a small farm, and a heart big enough to feed anyone who knocked on her door. One morning, as the sun stretched lazily across the hills, Mama Udu found a boy asleep beside her yam barn. His clothes were torn, and dust clung to his face like sorrow. She knelt beside him and shook him gently. "My child, where do you come from?" she asked. The boy blinked at her, confused, cautious. "My name is Ebuka," he whispered. "I don't have a home anymore." Mama Udu did not ask more. She only smiled and said, "Then let this be your home." Days turned into weeks. Ebuka worked hard in the garden, fetched firewood, and helped sell cassava at the market. Mama Udu treated him like her own. Each night, they sat by the fire. She told stories of the sky. He listened. But not all things grow in light. Some grow in shadow. One evening, while Mama Udu was away at a neighbor's naming ceremony, Ebuka noticed a traveler in fine robes pass by the compound. The traveler stopped to drink from the calabash on the porch. He looked at Ebuka and said, "A smart boy like you shouldn't waste time in a poor widow's hut. Come with me. I deal in spices and charms. One day of your help will earn you more than a month here." Ebuka hesitated. The man's eyes glittered. Ebuka remembered the holes in his old clothes, the way other boys at the market mocked him for carrying a widow's basket. He thought of Mama Udu's stories, her gentle hands on his head, the warmth by the fire, but the voice of shame and want shouted louder, and he followed. That night, Mama Udu returned to an empty home. No fire, no goat, no Ebuka, but she lit her lantern and left it outside in case he came back. The traveler was no spice dealer. He was a thief, and he used Ebuka. Together, they moved from village to village, stealing from huts at night. At first, Ebuka hated it. Each stolen yam felt like a cut to his soul. But over time, shame gave way to hunger for quick rewards. Greed dulled his heart. One day, the man handed Ebuka a matchbox and said, "Set fire to this hut while I search the granary." Ebuka lit the straw wall, but then he froze. That smell, the herbs in the cooking pot, the torn mat by the door. He had been here before. This was Mama Udu's home. The flames licked the sky. He dropped the mat. He ran, not to escape, but to stop it. When he reached the compound, the roof was already ablaze. The goat bleated in terror. Smoke curled around the only home he had ever known. And in the corner, holding a gourd of water too small to make a difference, stood Mama Udu. She saw him, not with anger, not with hatred, but with a look that shattered him more deeply than fire ever could. A quiet heartbreak, a silent cry. She dropped the gourd, turned away, and said nothing. In that silence, Ebuka heard every story she had told him, every kindness, every hope. He fled, not from her, but from himself. Years passed. He worked in far-off towns, learned to build huts, carried bricks, dug wells, planted trees. But no matter how many homes he built, he couldn't rebuild the one he had burned. One rainy season, with nothing in his pocket but a woven bracelet he had once made for Mama Udu, Ebuka returned to Obodo. The village had changed. Children he once knew now had their own. And Mama Udu's compound? Only the old foundation stones remained. No goat, no garden, only a tree she had once planted to mark Ebuka's first birthday in her home. He knelt at the tree's base. Tears fell. Not loudly, just enough for the roots to feel them. Then, he heard footsteps. He looked up. An old woman stood there, wrinkles like river maps on her face. It was her, Mama Udu. She was smaller now, but her eyes were the same. Ebuka tried to speak, but the words broke. "I burned it all," he whispered. "Yes," she said softly. "I don't expect forgiveness," he choked. "I didn't keep the fire from taking my house," she said, "but I kept it from taking my heart." He bowed. "I want to rebuild it." She walked to him, took his hand. "No," she said. "Let's build something new." And they did. Not just a home, but a place where every lost child, every weary traveler, every soul who had burned their bridges could find a place to begin again. They planted a new garden where the ashes had fallen. They raised walls that carried laughter, not secrets. And every evening, when the sun kissed the hills, they sat by a new fire, one that warmed but never consumed. Moral lesson 1. Kindness should never be repaid with betrayal. But if it is, remorse must come with action.